Hey everybody, it's Lon Seidman. We're taking a look today at the DJI Mic 3. This is a relatively easy to use microphone set for smartphones, but also traditional cameras and computers. This is the third generation of this product, and they've made a lot of improvements over the DJI Mic 1 that I reviewed a couple of years ago. What we're going to do in this video is look at this from a plug-and-play perspective. There are some features that might be of use to more pro-level users, which I'll talk about towards the end. But we're going to focus on today is just how well this product works with a few taps of a button and plugging in, because for many people, they just want something that works without a lot of hassle, and I think this product will certainly get you there. Now, before we jump into this, I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, that I paid for this with my own funds. All of the opinions you're about to hear are my own. No one has compensated me for this review, nor has anyone reviewed or approved what you're about to see before it was uploaded. So let's get into it now and see what this new microphone set is all about. Now, the price point that I paid for the two microphone set here is $329. There are a number of different ways you can buy this product, because you can actually buy these little microphone transmitters standalone. They work directly over Bluetooth to your phone if you want, although that's probably not the ideal scenario. I went with the two microphone kit, which gets us two mic transmitters and the receiver. The receiver, though, can support up to 4 microphones, and in certain configurations, you can actually record in real time all 4 tracks in their own audio track, not mixed together, so you can make some adjustments in post-production later. That, of course, depends on whether or not your system that you're connecting to supports that. So there's a lot of connectivity options. You can even just hook it up with an analog cable to your computer or camera too. So a very flexible system here that offers a lot of different options for connecting it to your phone or camera. Now, as far as phone connectivity is concerned, you get a USB Type-C dongle here in the kit, which you attach to the back of the transmitter. You just slide it down like so. What I like about this new version is that it locks into place. The old one would kind of slide in and out. This one doesn't come off until you push the lock button here to release it. So that was a really nice improvement. Now, if you have an older iPhone with a Lightning port, you're going to need to purchase an additional accessory, because the plug that they include in the box for the receiver is only USB-C. This, of course, will work with newer iPhones that have the USB-C connector, but not phones that have a Lightning connector, so just be aware of that. Like prior iterations of the DJI Mic, the case that you store them in is also a charger, and there's a battery inside, so you can put some more juice in your microphones while you're out in the field. The little one here will operate, they say, 8 hours on a charge in its default mode, and the receiver can operate for 10 hours, at least according to DJI, in the default mode. But if you enable some of the more professional features, like we'll talk about towards the end of the video, like lossless audio recording or the 32-bit float mode, that will consume more power, so you should plan accordingly. I do think you will get multiple hours out of this. Also note that the longer you use this product over time, the more the batteries will degrade. So a couple of years from now, you will see less battery longevity, so just plan appropriately. And unfortunately, the batteries are not swappable. They are built into the hardware here. So in a lot of professional gear, you have a swappable battery, not here, so just be prepared for that. Now, like other iterations of the DJI Mic product, this has a very tiny touchscreen on the front. I often had a hard time getting my fingers to tap the buttons here in an efficient manner, so they now have a click wheel that will let you navigate the interface here. You can push the button to choose a menu option, which is pretty helpful there. On the bottom, you've got a cold shoe mount for putting it on a camera. And then you can also, of course, just attach it to the bottom of your iPhone or Android phone, which works quite well when you are out in the field. So you can mount it in either direction here, and it will largely stay put thanks to the fact that that connector now locks into place very securely. So lots of different ways to mount it. Now, in addition to outputting audio over USB-C over this connector or the one on the back, you also have an analog audio out here along with a headphone jack for monitoring. This is a TRS connector, so just make sure you have the right receiving connector on your camera. If you have a TRRS connector, which is the connector that combines headphones and microphone in one plug, you can get an adapter to get this to work with what you need there. So all in, a lot of connectivity options. These will work again with computers, cameras, phones, just about anything that can take an audio input. Now, like prior iterations of the DJI Mic, these have built-in recording features. There's onboard memory, So if I hit the record button here, I get a little vibration and the light turns on. And now, in addition to transmitting, this transmitter is also recording onto its onboard storage. So if you have an area of a lot of radio interference, like at a busy trade show, you'll have the peace of mind to know that even if your camera doesn't get all the audio, the transmitter will have it all safely stored. We will look at some of the noise reduction features in a few minutes. Those noise reduction features do not get recorded because those happen inside of the receiver, but you get a nice clean audio sample from the floor and you don't have to worry about radio interference. Now, these actually do have a good amount of frequency range for their radio transmitters. They operate essentially in the Wi-Fi range, 2.4 gigahertz, but also 5 gigahertz, and they will jump around different frequencies to make sure that everything stays solid to the receiver. But if you're in an environment with a lot of Wi-Fi, with a lot of people also using these microphones, you might encounter interference. So I would recommend having these things record whenever you go out. Now, you can also configure these to record automatically the second they turn on. That might be something to enable in case you need it. They will store 57 hours of audio in their standard mode. If you do the 32-bit float mode, it's about 42 hours. Either way, a good amount of recording capacity. What it will do when it fills up is it'll erase the oldest recordings, so you can keep looping the recording feature on these without having to worry about them filling up. So a lot of nice options there for recording out in the field, so you don't always have to worry about the wireless connection working. Now, it's got a little clip on here. That clip can detach. It's got a little magnet on it. They also have some magnets in the box here, too, and very strong ones, so that you can clip this through a shirt, and these things latch on very tightly there, either to the clip directly or to the back of the microphone. So you have a number of different mounting options. A lot of little parts to lose here, so you definitely want to be careful out in the field with this stuff, but it's nice to have a number of different ways to mount the microphone on your talent. Now, if you're curious as to what the microphone sounds like, here you go. Right now, this microphone is in its default settings, what it comes with from the factory. I am recording onto the microphone, and that's when I'm working into my editing software here. It'll sound the same over the wireless, and they sound pretty good. I think they are an improvement over the Mic 1 that I was using prior. I'm not finding myself having to make many adjustments to the audio like I was doing with the prior version of the product. So from a basic plug-it-in kind of standpoint, things sound fine. These are, though, omnidirectional microphones. So if you are out in the field, you will be picking up not only your voice, but all of the other sounds that are around you. So there are some modes now that you can enable to reduce some of the background noise to pull your voice out louder. Those will not appear on the recordings, but they will come through the receiver. And a few days ago, I was in Berlin, Germany for a trade show. I took the mic out and did some tests. What you're going to hear first is what the microphone sounds like without any of the noise reduction enabled. So let's have a listen at that. So here's a test in the noisy trade show environment of the DJI Mic 3. This is without any of the noise cancellation on, so this is what it'll sound like in a noisy environment. But we do have noise reduction settings, so if we tap the screen here and we slide over a notch, you'll see that there is a little icon here. If we touch this, what we can do is switch into the basic or the strong noise reduction levels. So why don't we go back to Germany real quick through the power of editing, and let's listen to what both of those modes sound like. And this is what the basic version sounds like. So here you can get a good idea of what it's like in my trade show environment. And here is the strong setting on the noise cancellation. Let's see how this sounds versus the other modes. So the basic mode, I think, is actually pretty usable. The stronger mode, though, did sound a bit overly processed, so it may not be the best solution all the time. You might find that your editing software could do a better job pulling some of that audio out. There are some great AI tools now for that, but you do have options now that you didn't have before, and this omnidirectional microphone can be made a little more directional if you enable at least the basic setting. Remember, though, that those noise reduction settings only come through the receiver, not on the recording. So if you do have some kind of break in the action, you're going to have to pull the recording anyhow and then do some noise reduction on that through your software. Now, they also have some vocal presets on the mic. So this is the regular mode here, which we've been operating with. But if you want a more richer sound, you can tap on the screen here and go to rich or to bright. And I went out on my porch a little bit earlier with a demo of both, so have a listen. All right, so we're going to walk through a couple of different audio settings here. This one is the standard setting without any of the voice presets added. So why don't we take a look now at the rich setting. Okay, so now we are on the rich setting, which does have a little more warmth to the voice perhaps. It's subtle, but it does make a little bit of a difference. By the way, I have the noise cancellation turned off right now, so this is now the rich setting. Okay, so now we are on the bright setting. The bright setting, so this is a little bit different than rich and basic, but you can hear the subtleties of each of these different modes and how you can quickly get to something that you might be looking for. This can be set on an individual transmitter level. Now, when you are outside, you might want to use one of the included windscreens that they give you. They look like little tribbles. We call them dead cats in the industry, and they snap right onto the top of the mic. They have a black one here and a gray one, and there are 4 total in the box, so you will have some color choices here for your windscreens for outdoor use. Now, in addition to configuring things with the touch screen, you can also plug it into your phone and make some changes on there. So for example, you've got some of the more professional features here, including the time code feature. And what this will do is record a time code on all of the audio recordings, along with sending that time code through the USB connection to compatible devices. What this helps to do is prevent drift over time. So if one mic gets a little out of sync, they all have the same time code, and you can sync things back up, especially through editing software. You have the option here to also set up how the audio is recorded. So for example, if we did stereo, we would get one mic out of the left channel, another one out of the right channel, so we could make adjustments later in our recording. If your software supports it and you've got 4 mics attached, you can do a quadraphonic recording where you will get a separate audio channel for each microphone, but again, your device has to support that. The analog output here only supports stereo outputs, so you will need the digital connection to make that happen. You have your receiving gain adjustment here that you can do on the fly. You can also, of course, do this on the touch screen. There's some other settings here where you can have the system shut down when you turn the camera off to save battery. You also have an auto off mode if it's not being connected within 15 minutes, at least the receiver here. Now, there are some more advanced settings in the app here. If you tap on the periods in the upper right-hand corner like so, in here you can enable lossless audio recording. Just note that this will require more bandwidth, and if you're in an area that's got a lot of activity, it's going to potentially impact the quality of your wireless transmissions. But if you want the pure audio out of the mic, you can enable that and record lossless audio all the way through to your device. You also have some settings here like the low cut filter. They have adaptive gain control, so if you're in a dynamic environment, the system can set the audio levels automatically. One feature that I think some pros might like is the 32-bit float recording, because this will give you a wider dynamic range that you're recording with, and you can adjust for things better than you would with the default mode. But it often requires a lot more level adjustment in editing and post-production, so this is not necessarily a plug-and-play solution, but you do have the option if you need a 32-bit float recording for post-production options there. And you can see there's a bunch of other options here too, including turning off the vibration when you're recording. You can turn off the LEDs on the mics as well, so all sorts of features here that you can configure on the app a little more easily than you can through the touchscreen here at the bottom. So there you go, a pretty nice improvement over the first generation DJI microphone system. This one has a few extra features that I think more professional users might find of interest, but for those of us who just want a plug-and-play solution for our phones when we're out in the field, these sound decent enough. They're very easy to work with. You don't have to futz with settings. It is very much a plug-and-play scenario, and that is why I keep a set of these around for when I really don't need to do anything over the top from a production standpoint. So good stuff here from DJI, and until next time, this is Lon Seidman. Thanks for watching.